Hi, I'm firefighter paramedic Mark McDonald, and today I'm going to be giving you a few tips on how to be successful in your next firefighter interview. Being successful in the interview is all about the preparation beforehand. There's nothing worse than going in front of an interview panel, really wanting the job, but they know that you're unprepared for the situation. Doing your due diligence before your interview by researching and really looking into the city that you're going to be applying for can really give you a competitive edge against other candidates. During the interview, it is likely that the panel is going to ask something about the department, the town, and the community. Now, luckily for you, this is something that you can find on the internet or on the department's website because it's all public record. Doing your due diligence and your research beforehand is going to show the department that you really mean business and that you really want to work for them. A few key topics to take notes on when you're researching the town and the community are going to be the population, the square footage, the demographics. Is it an older city? Is it a younger city? Location of residencies or businesses? Are there any target hazards? Are there any unique community events or events that are put on annually? Now we're researching the department. What kind of things are we looking for? Well, we're going to look for when did the department begin? Who's the fire chief? How long has he been the fire chief? Are there any other kinds of chiefs? Division chiefs, EMS chiefs? How many personnel are there? How many battalion chiefs are there? What kind of apparatus do they have? How many of them do they have? Where are they stationed? How many stations do they have? Are there any specific target hazards that are unique to this department? Are there any unique apparatuses that are unique to this department, such as hazmat teams, tech rescues, or fireboats? How many calls do they get each year? These sorts of things are going to help you really formulate answers when you get questioned during an interview. And it's also going to allow you to really know the department that you want to work for. Now that you've researched the department, it's time to do a station visit. Station visits are an excellent way for you to show the department who you are on a more casual level outside of a formal interview. Now, you don't want to be too casual and you still want to show up as if you're doing your interview, but you do want to formulate some questions that are going to allow you to dig a little deeper into some stuff that you can't find on your research. As you start to think about setting up a station visit, there's a few key important things that you really need to know. One, you need to dress appropriately. You want to dress as if you're going to be going to an interview, because you are. You're going to be walking into a department and sitting down with a crew that potentially could be on your interview panel, or if not, is going to be asked by the interview panel how you were, what kind of questions you asked, and how you were just talking around a table. But you also want to have questions formulated prior to walking in the door. Have a notebook and a pen as well to write down things that the department is going to tell you that you can't just get off of the website. Another thing that's not a bad idea to do is to show up with a treat. Show up with some coffee or maybe some donuts. Just a little extra gesture to show that you really want to be there and you appreciate their time. Now it's time to practice for your interview. A good thing to know is that most interviews kind of ask around the same questions. They're just formulated differently. Some common questions are, tell me about yourself. What have you done to prepare yourself for this career field? Why do you want to work for this department? What special skills and assets do you have that can help this department? Do you have any strengths or weaknesses? What drove you to the fire service in the first place? Having pre-formulated answers to these questions can not only help you sound better during an interview, but also relieve some nervousness and stress before your interview as well. Good thing to do is to go home and write down on a piece of paper some questions and then formulate your answers. Once you feel that you're comfortable, record yourself or use your camera on your phone to record yourself with a video. This will show your body language, and it'll also show how many ums that you say when you're formulating your answers. Too many ums during your answer could cause the interview panel to think that you're disinterested or that you're not prepared for this interview. Now it's time to dress for your interview. Dressing for your interview correctly is going to show the interview panel that you're serious, you're interested in the job, and you carry yourself well. Make sure that you wear a suit and a tie of solid colors. Don't wear any crazy patterns or any crazy colors. You don't want to give the interview panel any distraction between you and your answers. You want to make sure that you cover any tattoos and take out any piercings that you have. Make sure you have a nice clean shave and a nice haircut. You also want to wear polished shoes and a polished belt. At the end of the day, the interview panel is going to remember you based off of how you dressed and the answers that you provided. You've made it. It's the day of your interview. You want to give yourself ample time to get to where you're going to be interviewing. You want to be at least 15 minutes early. If you're on time, you're late. You don't want to send the first impression to the interview panel that you're going to arrive to work right on time. As you walk through the door, ask them if they'd like the door to be shut, and then wait to be seated. Have extra copies of your resume and have one for yourself as well. Bring a nice presentation folder to put the extra copies of the resume in, and then slip them underneath your chair after you hand them out. You never want to look sloppy and always want to look neat on your interview. Don't put the folder onto the table and then kick your feet up. You always want to address everybody in the room as if they were the chief. During an interview, it's going to be formal, but you want to try to stay as casual as you can while also maintaining your formality. This is going to allow you to have less stress, and it's going to allow you to answer more carefully and also more thoughtfully when you're asked questions. The interview panel understands that you're very stressed out, and it's a very nerve-wracking time. Everybody hates interviews, but it's how you get through the interview and present yourself that's really going to leave a lasting, memorable impression to the interview panel. As you're answering questions from the interview panel, address the person first that asked you that question, and then scan the room and address the rest of the panel as you're answering. If there's an HR representative on the panel, it's just as important to include them in your answers as it would be if there's a captain or a battalion chief. This is because that HR representative also has an equal say whether you get hired on the department or not. Memorize your resume. You should be able to go down through your resume and speak about anything if any questions arise. This is a common practice by interview panels to ask you a little bit about your resume prior to the actual formal interview. This is to, one, get you to kind of calm down and get you more familiar with the interview panel. And it's also so they can get to know you a little bit better and see if they can work with you for the next 30 years. You're not just going to be a worker to them, but you're going to be somebody that's going to be living with them around the firehouse. So they want to know if they really can relate to you. Just stay calm and stay cool as they ask these questions and really kind of give them answers that are true to yourself. Don't give any canned answers because you know yourself more than anyone else does. Fire department interviews are one of the hardest interviews you're going to be a part of. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of questions, and a lot of specific ways to answer things. But if you follow these 5 tips that I gave you, you're going to be better prepared, more confident, and you're going to be more well-spoken during your next interview. I hope you really take into consideration what I've told you and really hone in on practicing your answers, because that next interview that you're a part of might just be the last one that you need. Once again, I'm firefighter paramedic Mark McDonald with the Apple Valley Fire Protection District, and thank you for watching my video, and good luck out there.